Secrets of Dracoria, The Forbidden Artifact, Part 3. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from, and welcome to the next chapter of this legend. The sky above Brighthaven was calm, but Kale knew better than to trust silence after war. The wind carried memories of fire, wings, and screams. Even days after the first dragon battle, the air still felt heavy, as if the land itself remembered what had happened. Kale stood on the highest ridge near the village, looking toward the eastern mountains. The scout's warning echoed in his mind. Bigger dragons. Larger forces. Coming from the eastern pass. Behind him, Draxus rested near the clearing, massive wings folded, golden eyes half closed. But Kale could feel the dragon's awareness. Draxus was not sleeping. He was listening, to the wind, to the earth, to something far beyond human senses. They are moving, Draxus finally rumbled in Kale's mind. Not yet close. But their path is clear. Kale exhaled slowly. Then we don't wait for them. We move first. Draxus opened one eye, studying him. You have a destination in mind. Kale nodded. The old maps in the village hall. The ones no one ever reads. They mark a place beyond the eastern cliffs. A ruined city. Dracoria. The name alone made the air feel colder. Draxus rose slowly to his full height, wings stretching wide. That place is forbidden for a reason. Then that's exactly why we need to go there, Kale said. If the enemy is growing stronger, so must we. The villagers gathered as Kale walked back into the clearing. Their faces were different now. No longer just fear. There was trust, hope, and something close to belief. Harlan the elder stepped forward. You're leaving. For a short time, Kale replied. But I won't leave you unprotected. I'll return stronger. With answers. Maybe even a way to end this war before it truly begins. The villagers exchanged worried looks, but no one tried to stop him. Draxus lowered himself so Kale could climb onto his back. The dragon's scales were still scarred from battle, but his strength had not faded. Hold tight, Draxus warned. With a single powerful beat of his wings, they rose into the sky. Brighthaven became smaller beneath them. Fields, rivers, and forests stretched into a living map below. Kale had never traveled this far before. The world felt endless, and for the first time he understood how small one village truly was in a world shaped by dragons and war. They flew east for hours. The land changed slowly at first. Green forests gave way to stone valleys. Rivers narrowed into sharp streams cutting through rock like silver blades. The air grew colder. The clouds darker. Then Kale saw it. Dracoria. The ruined city rose from the mountains like the skeleton of a fallen giant. Towers broken in half. Walls cracked and burned black. Massive stone bridges hanging over endless drops into shadowed canyons below. Draxus circled slowly, eyes narrowing. This place remembers dragons. And dragons remember this place. Kale swallowed. What happened here? Long ago, Draxus said, humans and dragons ruled together. Not as rider and mount. Not as master and weapon. But as equals. Kale's heart pounded. What changed? Draxus landed at the edge of the ruins, claws scraping against ancient stone. Fear. They dismounted near a broken gate carved with symbols Kale did not recognize. The air felt different here. Heavy. Like the world was holding its breath. Kale stepped forward, staff in hand. The maps say there is something hidden here. Something called the Heart of Dracoria. Draxus' head snapped toward him. Who told you that name? No one, Kale said. I read it. Written in the margins of an old map. Like someone didn't want it to be found. Draxus was silent for a long moment. That artifact, the dragon finally said, was made to unite dragons and humans. Or to control them. The difference depends on who holds it. Kale felt a chill run through him. Then the enemy can't be allowed to find it first. They moved into the ruins. Stone streets stretched ahead, cracked and overgrown. Statues of dragons and humans stood frozen in battle poses, worn down by centuries of wind and rain. Kale felt like he was walking through a memory rather than a city. Suddenly Draxus stopped. Do you hear that? Kale listened. Footsteps. Not theirs. He raised his staff just as a shadow moved between two broken pillars. A figure stepped into the open. Not a dragon rider. Not a soldier. A traveler. The man wore a long dust-covered cloak and carried a curved blade at his side. His face was young but hardened by the road. His eyes locked onto Kale and then slowly shifted to Draxus. Instead of fear there was recognition. So, the stranger said quietly, the Sky Herald is real. Kale tensed. Who are you? The man raised his hands slightly, showing he meant no harm. My name is Rin. I follow stories. And right now your story is the loudest one in the world. Draxus lowered his head, smoke curling from his nostrils. Stories attract danger. Rin nodded. That's why I'm here. The enemy is coming to Dracoria. Not just riders. Not just dragons. Kale's heart sank. Then what? Rin's voice dropped. Something older. The ground beneath them trembled. Just slightly. Draxus spread his wings. We are not alone. From deep within the ruins, a low, ancient sound echoed through the broken city. Not a roar. A call. Kale felt it in his bones. Whatever the heart of Dracoria truly was, it had just awakened. And they were standing directly in its path. The ancient call faded into silence, but the feeling it left behind did not. The air inside Dracoria felt thick, heavy, like the ruins themselves were watching Kale, Draxus, and Rin with unseen eyes. Kale tightened his grip on his staff. That sound, it wasn't a dragon. Rin shook his head slowly. No. And that's what scares me. Draxus stepped forward, claws scraping stone. This city was built around something powerful. Whatever you heard was not a warning. It was a response. To us? Kale asked. To you, Draxus corrected. They moved deeper into the ruins. Broken towers rose on both sides like the ribs of a fallen beast. The streets narrowed, forcing them into a long stone path lined with cracked statues. Every statue showed the same scene. A human standing beside a dragon, both facing forward, both equal in size and stance. Rin ran his hand over one of the stone carvings. This place tells a different story than the world we know. Kale nodded. In my village, dragons are legends. Weapons. Or monsters. And here, Rin said, they were partners. A sudden gust of wind rushed through the street, carrying dust and ash with it. Kale coughed, eyes stinging. When the air cleared, something stood at the far end of the path. It was tall. Taller than any man. Its body was made of stone and metal fused together, carved in the shape of a dragon standing on two legs. Its eyes glowed with a dim blue light. Draxus growled low in his chest. A guardian. Rin drew his blade. Of course it is. The guardian took one step forward. The ground shook. Kale raised his staff. We don't want to fight. The guardian did not answer. It took another step. Draxus spread his wings. It does not listen. It tests. The guardian's eyes flared brighter. With a slow, heavy motion, it lifted one massive arm and slammed it into the ground. A wave of stone surged toward them like a living wall. Move! Rin shouted. Kale dove to the side as the stone wave smashed where he had been standing. Draxus leapt into the air, wings beating hard to avoid the impact. The guardian turned its glowing eyes toward Kale. It pointed. Kale felt something pull at his chest. The Sky Herald mark burned like fire. He dropped to one knee, gasping. Draxus roared. Stop! The dragon blasted fire at the guardian, but the flames washed over its stone body without leaving a mark. Rin ran forward, slashing at the guardian's leg. The blade sparked against metal and stone, but did little more than leave a scratch. This thing doesn't bleed. Rin shouted. Kale forced himself to stand, pain still pulsing through his chest. It doesn't want to kill us. Rin stared at him. It just tried to crush you. It wants something, Kale said. Not our lives. Our proof. Proof of what? Rin asked. Kale looked at Draxus. Draxus slowly lowered himself to the ground beside Kale. Of unity. Kale stepped forward, ignoring the pain. He placed one hand on Draxus' scales and raised his staff with the other. We stand together, he said, voice steady. Human and dragon. Not as master and beast. Not as weapon and shield. As equals. The guardian froze. Its glowing eyes flickered. Kale took another step forward. We seek the heart of Dracoria. Not to control. Not to conquer. But to protect. The ground stopped shaking. Slowly, the guardian lowered its arm. The blue light in its eyes softened, shifting to a pale gold. Rin let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. I think, you passed. The guardian stepped aside, revealing a massive stone door behind it. The door was carved with the same symbol as Kale's mark. Draxus bowed his head slightly. The path is open. Kale walked to the door and pressed his palm against it. The stone rumbled. The door began to move. Inside, a vast chamber opened before them. Light poured from a crystal at the center of the room, floating in the air like a beating heart made of fire and sky. Kale felt its power immediately. Rin whispered, that's it. The heart of Dracoria. The crystal pulsed, sending waves of warm light across the chamber. Kale stepped closer, drawn to it like a flame to the wind. Draxus followed, cautious but curious. "This is what united our kind long ago," Draxus said. "And what tore us apart?" Kale reached out but stopped just short of touching it. "What happens if I do?" Draxus' voice was quiet. "You will be seen. Not just by this world, but by all who seek power." Rin tensed. "That includes the enemy." As if summoned by the words, a distant roar echoed through the ruins. "Not one dragon. Many." Kale's heart sank. "They found us." The crystal flared brighter, reacting to the danger. The chamber walls began to glow with ancient symbols, lighting up one by one. Draxus spread his wings. "The heart is waking fully." Rin tightened his grip on his blade. "Then we're about to be very popular." Kale looked from the glowing crystal to the dark tunnels leading back into the city. He felt the weight of choice pressing down on him. Take the heart and become a target. Or leave it and risk the enemy claiming it. He clenched his jaw. "We're not leaving it here." Draxus nodded. "Then the world will change." Outside the chamber, the sound of wings and armor grew louder. The first riders were already entering Dracoria. And this time they were not coming for a village. They were coming for the power to rule everything. Kale stood before the heart of Dracoria, its golden-red glow reflecting in his eyes. The warmth of the crystal reached into his chest, pulsing in rhythm with the Sky Herald mark. He could feel Draxus tense behind him, wings flexed, muscles ready for flight and combat. Rin's hand tightened on his sword, eyes darting toward the tunnels leading deeper into the ruins. "They're here," Rin said, voice low but urgent. "The enemy riders. Dozens of them already entered Dracoria." Kale swallowed hard. He had known the heart would attract danger, but the sound of wings and battle cries made it real. "We can't leave it," he said. "If they get it first, the war ends before it even begins." Draxus lowered his massive head, smoke curling from his nostrils. "The heart recognizes you, Kale. It will respond to your intent. You must be ready. Once we touch it, we cannot retreat." Kale took a deep breath and stepped forward. He raised his hand, letting the warmth of the crystal flow into him. His Sky Herald mark glowed brighter, harmonizing with the pulse of the heart. He could feel the crystal recognizing him, responding to his courage, his resolve, and his bond with Draxus. "Do it," Draxus urged. "We fight together now and always." Kale's fingers brushed the surface of the heart. A surge of energy shot through him, light spilling across the chamber. Symbols on the walls blazed like fire, ancient magic awakening after centuries of slumber. Rin shielded his eyes, sword held high as the chamber trembled. Then a deafening roar echoed through the ruins. Shadows moved at the edges of the chamber. Dozens of enemy dragons swooped in, black scales glinting under the glowing light of the heart. Their riders called out, voices amplified by the air itself, demanding the crystal be handed over. Kale stepped back, feeling the weight of the world pressing down. They wanted all of it. Draxus leapt into the air, wings flaring wide, claws ready. "Then they shall have to take it from us." The first clash began in a torrent of fire and steel. Draxus dove into the enemy ranks, flames erupting in arcs, dragons screeching and colliding midair. Kale and Rin worked together, blocking charging riders, flinging firepots, and guiding villagers who had secretly followed to the chamber to defend the heart. Kale could feel the crystal thrumming faster, reacting to every strike, every movement, every choice. It was alive, yes, but it was also dangerous. If the enemy succeeded, it could warp their very minds, bending dragons and humans to their will. One black dragon swooped directly at Kale, rider brandishing a long glaive. Draxus intercepted, talons raking the attacker's wings, sending them spiraling. Kale ducked under the rider's swing, staff clashing against steel. Sparks flew, echoing off the stone walls. Rin leapt to Kale's side, slashing at another rider. "Keep moving," he shouted. "The heart amplifies their power." The chamber became a storm of wings, fire, and magic. Dragons twisted and collided, stone cracked under the force of their landings, and the villagers dodged, ducked, and retaliated with every tool they could grasp. Kale realized the enemy leader was present, riding the largest black dragon he had ever seen. Its wings cast a shadow across the entire chamber. Its eyes glowed red, fixed on the heart. The leader's aura radiated power, but Kale felt something else, a shadow of fear. The enemy did not expect the heart to respond to a human's touch. Kale's pulse quickened. Now he thought, "We strike together." He raised his staff, focusing the energy from the heart into a single beam. Draxus mirrored his movement, channeling fire into the same direction. The combined force hit the enemy leader head-on, sending him and his dragon crashing into the far wall. The impact shook the chamber, dust and debris raining down. Rin and the villagers pressed forward, keeping enemy survivors at bay. Kale's heart pounded. The heart's light surged, bright enough to push back the shadowed enemy dragons. They faltered, confused by the crystal's recognition of Kale as its true protector. But the enemy was relentless. Another wave of riders and dragons came from the tunnels. Kale realized they were testing him, probing for weakness. Every decision mattered. One wrong move and the heart could fall into the wrong hands. Draxus, we hold them here. Kale commanded. Do not let them reach the heart. The dragon roared and surged forward, claws slicing through the attacking dragons. Kale followed closely, using the staff to deflect magical blasts and flames. Rin flanked with precision, cutting down riders who tried to breach the chamber. The villagers, emboldened by Kale's leadership, began to fight with determination they had never known. The battle raged for what felt like hours, but the tide gradually turned. The enemy dragons faltered, their formation breaking apart as the heart's energy reinforced Kale, Draxus and their allies. One by one riders fell, dragons retreated, and the chamber returned to relative silence, broken only by the heavy breathing of the survivors. Kale stepped forward, exhausted but resolute. The heart of Dracoria floated in the center, pulsing gently as if approving the victory. Draxus landed beside him, wings folding with a slow, deliberate grace. Rin lowered his sword, wiping sweat from his brow. I've fought many battles, Kale. But I've never seen anything like this. A human standing with a dragon, channeling ancient power. Kale nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility once more. We've won today, but this is only the beginning. The enemy knows the heart exists now. They will come again. Stronger. Smarter. And next time they will bring more than dragons and riders. Draxus' eyes glimmered. Then we prepare. We train. We grow. And we fight, together. Kale gazed at the heart of Dracoria. Its light bathed the chamber in a golden-red glow, a reminder of the bond between humans and dragons, a promise of power and responsibility, and a challenge that would shape the fate of all who lived under the skies of this world. From the shadows of the ruined city, distant wings beat. The enemy had not given up. They were regrouping, preparing for the next assault. Kale's jaw tightened. This war, he whispered, has only just begun. The chamber was quiet now, but the echoes of battle lingered in the air. Smoke drifted from scorched stone, and fragments of shattered dragon's armor and broken weapons lay scattered across the floor. Kale lowered his staff, exhaustion heavy in his limbs, but his eyes remained locked on the heart of Dracoria. Rin leaned against a cracked pillar, breathing hard. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. We actually survived that. Draxus curled one massive wing protectively around Kale. The heart protects those it trusts, he said. And it has chosen you as its guardian. Kale's fingers hovered over the crystal. Its light pulsed softly as if acknowledging his presence. I understand, he said quietly. It's not just a weapon. Not just a prize. It's a responsibility. The distant sounds of approaching wings reminded them that their battle was far from over. The enemy was regrouping, no doubt preparing to strike again. Kale knew that the heart's protection would not last forever. They needed to move before reinforcements arrived in greater numbers. Rin sheathed his sword. So what now? Do we take it with us? Kale nodded. Yes. Draxus, help me lift it carefully. It's magic, it's alive. We can't just grab it like an ordinary artifact. The dragon lowered his massive head and, with careful precision, extended a claw to cradle the glowing crystal. Kale placed his hands on it, letting the energy flow through him as Draxus lifted off the ground, wings spreading wide. Together they rose into the air, the heart glowing between them, casting warm light across the ruined city. Below, the villagers watched in awe. They had come to see Kale as a leader, yes, but now they also understood the magnitude of his role. The world they had once known was changing. Where do we go? Rin asked, holding tight as Draxus gained altitude. Kale's eyes scanned the horizon. Beyond Dracoria, vast deserts stretched under a scorching sun. We head to the desert nomads, he said. If the enemy learns about the heart, we will need allies. And I've heard tales that the desert tribes know ancient secrets about dragons that no one else remembers. Draxus flapped his wings, stirring the air into a whirlwind. Then it is decided. We journey to the sands. But be warned, deserts test more than courage. They test the mind, the body, and the heart. As they soared above the ruined city, the heart pulsed gently, its light reflecting off Drax's scales and Kale's determined face. The artifact was alive, yes, but more than that, it was a guide. A warning. A promise. Below, the ruins of Dracoria seemed almost to sigh in relief, the ancient stones settling as though acknowledging Kale's victory. He understood that this chapter had ended, but the story was far from over. New threats loomed, and the power of the heart was now a beacon, drawing both friend and foe toward it. Hours later they reached the edge of the eastern cliffs. The desert stretched before them like a golden ocean, heat rising in waves, mirages dancing across the horizon. Kale squinted against the sun, feeling the weight of what lay ahead. The desert nomads, Kale whispered. They may hold the knowledge we need. Or they may test us in ways we cannot yet imagine. Draxus circled above, wings cutting through the heat haze. Whatever comes, he said, we face it together. Rin wiped sweat from his brow, sword still at the ready. I have a feeling this journey is going to be even harder than the last battle. Kale nodded, adjusting the heart between his hands. It will be. But if we survive, if we learn, then the power of the heart can be used to unite dragons and humans once more. And maybe, just maybe, we can change the world before the enemy destroys it completely. The three of them, human, dragon, and warrior, rose into the skies above the desert, the heart of Dracoria glowing brightly, casting long shadows across the dunes below. The journey ahead was uncertain, perilous, and full of danger, but Kale felt a surge of resolve. This was no longer just about survival. It was about destiny. And Kale was ready to face it, one step, one flight, one battle at a time. Above the endless sands, a shadow passed, silent and massive. Kale's eyes narrowed. The enemy was watching, waiting. But now they had a target, a beacon, and a human who would not yield. The first battle of Dracoria was over. The next challenge, desert secrets, nomadic tribes, and ancient dragons, awaited. And the war for the heart had only just begun.